Hey, it's another edition of Coffee with the Goose, where I talk about things that are interesting, fascinating, and irritating. So glad you joined me again. We're back home safely from the Philippines. Did a little almost 3-week jaunt there, and we missed the family there already. Just had a wonderful time. Going to talk boxing this time around, a little Manny Pacquiao news, and not really what you want to hear, but hey, that's life goes on. Let me take a little sip of coffee before we go any further. Merry Christmas to you, by the way, you and your family. My coffee is, very strong, like my opinion. And of course, I got to have some creamer in there to make it sweet, just like me. All right, what's the latest in the Manny Pacquiao front? Recently, Manny Pacquiao, just before his exhibition fight with DKU in Seoul, South Korea, said, yeah, he's coming back for real to the boxing game. And we're excited about it, but now it's a matter of, number one, is he really serious about it, because he just turned 44, and number two, who's going to fight him? Because, even though I still believe he's one of the best welterweights in the world when he commits himself to it, not all of these guys are willing to fight him. There's really only 3 guys who I would be willing to shell out a few dollars to watch him fight. Mayweather, although that would be reluctantly, and that's not going to happen because Mayweather's he's not going to risk his undefeated record. And I honestly believe that, just like Manny said, Floyd is afraid of him when he's healthy. And the other 2 guys are the 2 reigning undefeated welterweight champions, Terrence Crawford of Omaha, Nebraska, and Errol Spence Jr. of the Dallas, Texas area. Well, we just got some news that is not really surprising. Spence says, "No, I'm not going to do that." And he gave some good reasons. He said, look back at Muhammad Ali's career. His last fight, I believe it was his last fight, was against Holmes, Larry Holmes. And Holmes beat him up. And Muhammad Ali looked really, really bad. And it was just a shameful exhibition. And number one, you felt bad for Ali. He probably shouldn't have gotten in there against, I think Holmes was undefeated at the time. And then you lost respect for Holmes for going ahead and beating up the legend Muhammad Ali. And so that is one of the reasons, or the main reason, why Errol Spence Jr. will not fight Manny Pacquiao. He doesn't want to be that guy. It's a lose-lose situation for him. Even if Pacquiao is at, the top of his game, and Spence beats him, people are going to say, Pacquiao wasn't at his best, and he's 44 years old. Why are you beating up an old man like that? And if he beats him badly, it's the Larry Holmes, Muhammad Ali syndrome. People are going to lose respect for Errol Spence Jr. And then on the flip side, if he loses to Pacquiao, and that could happen, then he loses all respect as a fighter, period. So I respect Errol Spence Jr. for making that decision. Good reasons. You got to, hand it to the guy. He's out for his own legacy, and he wants to keep the respect that he's earned over the years in the ring. Now, you could be a little bitter about it, and I would understand that if you're a diehard Pacquiao fan. I consider myself not quite diehard, but I'm a huge Pacquiao fan. How can you not be? He's one of the greatest ever, maybe the best pound-for-pound fighter in the history of the sport, 8-division world champion. But look at how that last fight, took place. All the shenanigans. And I really believe, boxing is dirty to the core. We've seen it many times. Pacquiao's been robbed 2 or 3 times, maybe more, in his career. And what happened, let me refresh your memory, back in Vegas. We were there, by the way. They let us in the Pacquiao camp. Got to interview all those great folks. They were so gracious to us, and we were really appreciative of that. But remember what happened. Errol Spence Jr., with 10 days left to go in the fight, sustained a mysterious eye injury in training camp. That by itself is raises a lot of question marks. But 2 hours after that announcement, Yordenis Ugas's opponent suffered an eye injury too. And then, of course, Pacquiao fought Ugas He wasn't really prepared, didn't have time to adequately prepare for his competition, and lost that fight. So you can see why, really diehard Pacquiao fans would be a little bitter at Errol Spence Jr. saying, "Nah, I'm not going to fight him," when a lot of us think, and a lot of experts think, Pacquiao would have beat him last year at the age at that time. He was 43 years old, 42. I think he would have beat Spence. So what do you think? Do you still respect Errol Spence Jr. After making this announcement that he's not going to fight Manny Pacquiao, even though his reasons are good? Or do you just move on and hope Terrence Crawford takes the challenge? Because Pacquiao said he'll fight anybody, especially those two undefeated champions, Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford. And they're equally, for some reason, I don't know why those guys haven't fought yet. They've been jawing back and forth for several years now, talking trash. And, back in the day, they would have fought at least a couple times by now. But they haven't, faced off against each other in the ring. I don't know why. That's just so frustrating as a boxing fan who loves to see big fights between great opponents, great champions, and these two guys, for whatever reason, aren't going to step in the ring together. That's crazy. So, and who knows who would have won that fight? I think they're equally matched. But if it's not going to be Floyd, and that's not going to happen, even if the monetary reward is tremendous, and it would be, and it's not going to be Errol Spence Jr., well, that leaves Terrence Crawford. So we'll see. I mentioned after Pacquiao made his announcement that he's getting back in the ring for sure, that it'll be a couple, maybe 2, maybe 3 months before we hear an announcement about a potential fight, or whether there's negotiations going on or what have you. So we still have to remain patient and just see what happens. But Pacquiao now is 44 years old, and I truly believe, you guys may disagree with me, that if he gets, really committed again and works hard and trains hard like we know he can and has in the past, that he can face anybody and win. So we'll see what happens. So there you have it. That's the news. Errol Spence Jr. says, nah, not going to do it. No Manny Pacquiao fight for me, and good reasons too. So I respect Errol Spence Jr., although I still have a lot of question marks about that, what happened last year. That's boxing, though. Don't be surprised at any shenanigans there, maybe corruption that's going on, because that's the way the sport is and always has been and always will be. So we'll just hope for the best. Manny, now 44 years old. We'll see what happens with him. I remain a fan, whether he gets back in the ring or not. We'll just see what happens. That's it for this edition of Coffee with a Goose. I want to thank you so much for watching again. Thank you so much for subscribing. And again, many thanks and love to the family in the Philippines for treating us so well during our trip there for almost 3 weeks. We enjoyed it so much, and we look forward to going back there. And I will leave you with this. Have a very Merry Christmas. God bless you and your family, and a Happy New Year. And we will talk to you again soon.